So don't worry. Straight into the draft to witness Silas being banned first up. And Ellis calling it a night. He's just going to go, and I'm in a solid cast game.
Pass out.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, here we go. Jace now
there we go.
in the
Fine.
window.
I'm holding onto my co-caster by a thread. And thankfully, Jace ban makes a lot of sense, so I like it.
All right, Afreeca now banning away the Lucian. In the door.
Well, the door hasn't been banned yet. Brom's still available. Probably not going to be banned first round.
Hanwha Life now locating the Rise and banning that away. We'll see if Afreeca want to ban away the Ezreal or not.
Interestingly enough, Afreeca didn't sub anyone in or out, so Sun is going to keep his spot.
Today.
If I was Afreeca, I'd ban LeBlanc because Tempt could pick it and just completely troll Sun. He'd be feeling absolutely terrible after his performance in game number 2. But we'll see exactly what does happen. Zoe's still available, Ezreal still available, and the Galio going to be banned away. So one of those picks is going to get through. The Vladimir also. I'd love to see Hanwha Life actually prioritize the Vladimir over the Ezreal if that's what's going to be left up, but they don't even have to because it's going to be Zoe or Vladimir. That's the option here. That the Vlad going to be picked up first, and we know that this can be flexed everywhere.
And there's still a lot of top powerhouses that are available. Victor can really keep this champion in line in top, and then also scale into the AP Victor.
Yeah.
Jace is still available as well. Lissandra now being hovered, most likely for Sun.
I actually like it. Pick up the Lissandra, but unless you can give Sun the Zoe and then have a much better time, it is going to be locked in. That's what they want to go for, but it's basically a self-counter pick because Hanwha Life, there's no reason not to just go Zoe Tahm Kench in the next round.
And at this point, I mean, picking up the Lissandra this early on, it does leave you susceptible to a counter pick, but
Thresh escapes pick and ban for the first time in this series.
And he is on the side of Afreeca. I guess they just maybe didn't want to give away Lissandra Vladimir without the option to have some sort of a poke comp against. This might mean that Hanwha Life snaps back with the Kalista and then X. I guess Kalista Tahm Kench could be the picks of choice here.
Well, the other thing that they need to watch out for is the Kalista being left available for Sol, and we've got the ideal Kalista lane being hovered here by the Afreeca Freecs with the Thresh already built up. Bono going to go back towards the Lee Sin. And this is going to be the first time that he's played it so far this series, but Zoe is a no-brainer. And that will mean that either top or AD carry position is where the Vladimir will be going. I've actually enjoyed Sungyun on the Vlad in the past, but Tal being on a power pick like this really does stand out in my mind. This is exactly what the Afreeca Freecs want to be doing, though, because this is going to give them, once again, a priority bottom lane that they can play around. And we even saw in game number 2 that they lost very handedly very early on.
And this is...
It was certainly a good thing to play around.
Really scary. I mean, Sol and Senon were the only two players last game that were really pulling their weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in game number 1, they were doing reasonably well as well. And now they're going to be able to further pinch the bottom pool.
Yeah, TK being taken off the board is
Morgana
actually
or
huge.
Braum can
Yorick
still be
band,
targeted.
Wow, Yorick Band on the Hanwha side does sort of show their hand a little bit here. It shows that Tal is the one that wants to be playing the Vladimir, because otherwise they could have held on to that and potentially shown their flex towards the bottom side of the map after that point in time. That being said, picking Yorick on the blue side is almost impossible, given that Fiora can be picked into it.
Well, Urgot now being banned away. And so Jace is one of the only champions, I guess, remaining except for Victor. Victor's not that bad against this Hanwha Life team composition.
Yeah, I don't know what you necessarily want to take to try and...
Kha'Zix.
Okay, Kha'Zix going to be picked up by Dread. We saw Canyon in our previous series. Kha'Zix was banned in basically every single game there. Sungyun thinking about a Draven has been something that's worked against the Kalista in the past. Hovering over a few things. Where will Sungyun actually go?
Is that real?
I mean, he's hovering it, but
Okay.
the Xayah is going to be picked.
All right. So the Xayah ends up being locked in, but...
Okay! Do you know what happens when someone takes a hook champion against you on the bottom side of the map? You take a better hook champion into them on the bottom side of the map. That's what I'm talking about. Bono, of course, knows all about playing around a Blitzcrank. He was with Ignat on BBQ Oliver's last year.
I just want you to look at the Xayah and Blitz splash arts together. It sort of looks like they're one champion.
Yeah, why does that work so well?
This looks like battle armor. Xayah's a Marine right now from StarCraft.
Blitzcrank was
cheating with
Xayah the whole time. Rakan?
Gosh, she was oiling him up.
What?
Putting his...
Okay, well, Keen is going to pick Silas towards the top side. Cool.
Well, that puts a whole new meaning on cheating with the mechanic. You know, I guess that is what's going on there.
As LS is just refusing to acknowledge the fact that Silas was picked this game because he just wishes it didn't happen.
I'm ignoring this right now.
Oh, but Silas with a Featherstorm is actually kind of awesome. Oh, no, wait, you can't.
He has
you
one
can't
ultimate.
You can't pull the feathers back.
He has one ult.
Blitzcrank?
No.
AoE silence that does a lot of damage sounds amazing to me.
He's going to get blown up before he can use it.
Nah, not going to happen.
This is one of the worst Silas picks of all time. Let's take a look at the team comms. Xayah, Blitzcrank, Zoe, Lee Sin, and Vladimir. Obviously, the Vlad wants to set up for the flanks, but the Zoe, integral part of this team composition with the bubbles, being able to synergize really, really well with the Blitzcrank, as no one's able to block bubbles if Blitz is just going to pull you later on. Now on the team composition on the flip side, Kha'Zix, Lissandra, Kalista, and Thresh going to really have their work cut out for them. Side of the 4v5.
and the cannon minion on the top side of the map, I guess, is also going to be here. We definitely don't have a lot of time for Silas here in the LCK, given his current win record in this region. But if we were commentating Japan, we'd be using very different wording because he's been slaughtering that region. Gigantic win rate, he played in the jungle, all sorts of crazy stuff. Let's see what happens here as Keen pilots at this game. And the lead caller there for the Afreeca Freecs actually can't stop laughing for some reason. I wonder whether she has an opinion about Silas as well. As Key going for a slightly different option than what we see in our solo queue matches. But that ward over there is going to get a whole bunch of value. So Blitzcrank now going to be going back home. And I feel like we've got two of the most classic. We do heaps of stuff in the early game and in the laning phase, and then we do stuff if we land one ability right in the late game. And that is Blitzcrank and Lee Sin's, what they've been known for at all times. And we've got another keystone on Silas.
Kleptomancy Silas with Biscuit's Transcendence and Mana Flow Band. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got the ultimate bravery Silas.
This is like the item on the menu that you just don't order and you wonder why it's even there. Yeah. And then you do order it once, and then Gordon Ramsay comes in, he just throws it right out and asks how long it's been there.
Yeah, that's the one thing that Gordon Ramsay comes to your restaurant and asks you to make, and you're like, oh, you could have chosen anything else. My restaurant's great, man.
Oh, man. It's like a Kitchen Nightmares episode, Silas
is
there.
It really is. It really is. However, we haven't seen what happens just yet, as Keen trying to get some of their cash money in this top lane.
Lane starting off well. He managed to get 66% of the first wave.
Hey, look. That's better than the 2 that Tal had before the wave moved towards him.
Yeah. I can tell that you're a glass half full kind of
guy. I'm glad. Like, if there's any water in the glass, I'm like, oh, it's full, baby. If it was just a smaller glass, it would definitely be full.
You're always thinking, well, why not just put more water in?
Yeah, my thing is not that it's like half full, it's just that the glass is the wrong size. That's my way of thinking. That's my level of optimism, my friend. And that's how I can talk about...
find the one that fits for you.
That's how I can talk about Silas as a champion, instead of as a glorified cannon minion.
Oh.
Whoa, picked the gap in between everything there as Sun throws a lot of damage back here.
Yeah, he's taking a very aggressive trade. Now, the fortunate thing here is that Tempt is not electing to try to take Spellbook here against the Lissandra, instead trying to fight it straight up with the Aerie in control of the laning phase. Corrupting Potions have been expended for both parties, which is really bad for Zoe in this matchup because the Teleport obviously can come in for Lissandra.
Yeah.
Able to make better usage of that.
Well, Lee Sin is actually focused towards this mid lane, so it means that Tempt can play a little bit further up as long as he plays towards the top side of the map. You can see he's already doing that. Okay. Wave pushing in, and that is always scary times against a Blitzcrank.
And so far, nothing too chaotic really happening anywhere. I'm very curious how Keen is supposed to reliably proc Kleptomancy against the Vladimir, though.
Yeah, like we said, ultimate bravery keystone choice. Coming in. The randomizer on fire.
Ooh, I guess he's going to get
stunned his way back forward. Okay.
Right.
He's got a biscuit. He's got so much sustain in this lane. Look at that. Silas is a great pick, dude. Don't even worry about it. All this negativity. Look at that chain lash.
I don't like you
for
anymore.
the sick damage. Come on, I thought you liked me when I was sarcastic. What is this? Come on.
Oh, man. Well, we're really paying attention to this top lane, which is interesting. I guess maybe a lot of people don't know what to expect inside of it. Keen trying to get in here, not getting any Klepto procs, instead losing his entire HP bar.
It's like Keen is doing so much, and Tal does like one thing and wins every trade.
They're even in CS right now, but the lane state is definitely not even.
It does mean that, you know, Keen does have priority theoretically in this lane.
Yeah.
Can actually move out faster, but does keep him very susceptible to ganks from Bono. We know that Bono's on the bottom side of the map, and Keen does have a ward available, but it isn't exactly the best scenario. Absconds backwards as Keen looking to teleport his way back into this lane with a bit of extra money. See whether he can. As Sol is playing like this Blitzcrank don't have a hook, which as a Kalista, I could understand why. Able to hop around and be pretty difficult to land any buttons on. See whether Bono can as he's lurking in this bottom brush. We've got pings available onto the Kha'Zix as the hook is going to land. But is it a bait? There's the flash forward. They want to lock down Sol, but he flashes away from the lantern. It's a disaster, and speaking of disasters, Sun's going to come on down. They want to be able to grab Sol as he tries to get out. Does. That's a decent hook back as Senin wants to get rid of Bono. In goes Dread, and they are going to be able to trade 1-for-1. But most of the gold has already come down, and Tempt wants to find more bubble. It lands on to one, but Dread should be able to leap his way out. Sun is going to keep himself alive. It's another 1-for-1 trade, but now it's all going to hell. As Sun gets out, 100 health left on the Lissandra. It's 3-2, and Hanwha Life are in the lead.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's in the lead after that. But that was a series of events that I'm not quite sure what to make of it. We're going to take another quick look for sure in a replay here. As you can see that this all starts with Senon getting the hook off, but Key really quick to pull the trigger onto Sol. Sol flashes away from the lantern, and then the teleport.
Body blocking was happening, so he couldn't actually take it. I get that.
You can zoom in with the mouse. Not a lot of people know that.
Okay.
You zoom in really, really quick with the scroll wheel. You can click it, and then teleport comes in. Kha'Zix is here as well, but then they overstay their welcome and end up getting hit by a Zoe bubble. You can see it lands onto Dread right here. He doesn't even bother flashing away. And at this point, Lissandra ends up ulting herself. Dread tries to come back in there to trade the 1-for-1.
Could it have gone worse? After the initial trades back and forth? I'm not entirely sure. As the dust settles, Sol makes it back to lane faster, but as Caulfield's Warhammer on top of the Xayah that didn't get any of the kills, which is actually huge news. Here, for Afreeca Freecs fans, hook going to go wide. Bono just paying a lot of attention down here towards the bottom side as Key straight up misses the hook. Senin probably, I mean, thinking about whether if that hook had have landed, Senin probably should not have thrown the lantern towards Sol when he was over there. But Bono is unrelenting.
Yeah, he just wants to make this happen. This is actually a very easy play to make work if they can crash the wave fast enough, yeah. But here comes Tempt. He's making a rotation. Well, no one seems to be on the same page.
Well, they're investing control wards down here. They really want to keep Sol and Senin down. Might be that Hanwha now just transition this into a potential early dragon or even a steal away of this blue buff. And with Key running around, it is not something that they are likely to contest. So this is what happens. Bono going to be able to take the blue buff, and that's not what they wanted. Tempt did everything right, and Bono auto-attacked it.
Well, he will have the blue coming up for him shortly, so right now Bono going to be able to do the Mountain Drake as play.
All right, yep, we are going to have barrier. Flash is going to be utilized there from Tempt. He uses every button he has at his disposal, and he is going to be able to make his way out, but certainly in favor of the Afreeca Freecs. No flash is needed. Oh my goodness, if Bono's jumped on here, I don't know whether a Blitzcrank is going to be able to help. He is able to move on up. Tempt is over here as well. Got a lot of his health back, actually. Leap has to be used. And now with priority bottom side, given that early skirmish, Hanwha able to take down this first Mountain Drake. Big deal in momentum here for this Hanwha Life squad.
And right now, Hanwha Life, they're still just going even for the most part across the board, but accruing very small micro advantages. Vladimir's getting a free lane, by the way, up here on top.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Cannon Creep is preventing him from doing some stuff. His control ward is going to be cleared out there as Tempt. Oh man, if you're the bottom lane in this game, like if this is your like your Silver 1 promos or something like that, you're like, I'm not even allowed to play League of Legends and it's my promos? It's ridiculous.
Absolutely disrespectful.
What do you mean?
It's at least Diamond 4.
Oh no, I'm just saying, you know, most players in the world are in Silver, so I'm just relating, you know, getting in there.
Well, most players who used to be Silver are now in Platinum, so.
Really?
Some.
Alright.
You know, it's sort of like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I've heard about what things are like in Platinum. I'm personally not there, but it seems like there's a lot of people that used to be Silver in there.
Well, this game so far is definitely going to be slowing down here. Rift Herald is likely to be the only thing that can start to add some spice to it as Bono and Key are making their ways over there. Now, the reason that Rift Herald should be such a high priority objective is there's still 4 minutes almost remaining on all of the turret plates.
Yep.
And with the Mountain Drake, it's very easy for Afreeca
Ooh, good chunk out there onto
to try to utilize the priority and capture this. And you can see that Xayah, a little bit late to the party. This is definitely a fight that can change the entire face of the game.
Yeah, and Kane has taken the Blitzcrank ultimate. I love this. It's the only high-value ultimate that he can gather for himself. Ascendant takes so much damage, and immediately Soldiers gets hooked and destroyed. Featherstorm in the backline, but Sung, you're not going to get any value from it. And Afreeca Freecs, they lose everything, and they're not able to actually claim anything back.
And in the end there, that was very strange. Blitzcrank was able to land the hook onto Ascendant, and he just ends up going down, and it's a very big win for Hanwha Life. They get themselves the Rift Herald. Surprised to see they don't just instantly utilize it somewhere and just convert it into immediate gold. We see these teams, they wait for so long. We'll take another quick look at this. As we can see that Afreeca, they're posturing on the right-hand side, and Sun ends up getting completely deleted right there. Senin trying to do his best, having to flash away and get Callista ulted, and then everyone goes down. And right after this Rift Herald, when Lissandra doesn't exist in mid, you might think that, oh, well, we can wait, posture around a little bit, summon the Herald, and get late. They're saying really nice, and let's eat the Herald.
Well, they did.
They did do that.
They did. That's what they finished off afterwards. That was their prize.
They're doing the play-by-play for you, Atlas.
I know. I should probably just go home.
Yeah.
Interesting, me going home when it was certainly something that you wanted to do earlier on. Most of you guys weren't here. LS not feeling super well, so that is why. Not for any other reason. The League of Legends has been of the highest quality. Every Silas that was picked, we could understand exactly why it was picked. Definitely a great choice.
Right now, trying to say that with a straight face about Silas.
Yeah.
It's okay.
We'll get through this.
United we stand, don't you worry.
Thanks, man.
I'm gonna need a Shen ultimate after this.
You're my Shen.
Oh man.
Alright, well, Dread is going to be able to eat his Crimson Bramble back. I'm still going to call it that, even though it lost the Crimson. Keen going to grab a couple of turret plates here before they drop. Only a minute left remaining on that one, so that's good. Some more money into the Silas, see whether he can prove us wrong. And the Rift Herald is going to be thrown into the bottom side of the map. And with the reset coming out from the Afreeca Freecs, Shelly is going to be able to deliver a whole bunch of gold, assuming that Sangin can clear out this minion wave and give her position
This is going to be a really nice crash right here.
That's turret dead, as well as all of the plates.
All the
Feels
plates.
good, man.
And there's still the turret remaining. I'm very surprised to see them not try to force them off it. Or maybe threaten a blitzcrank play. Oh, Sun.
Yep, has to self-ult as Tempt just wants to find another couple of buttons. Sun does have Flash still available. Bubble going to be avoided. Nicely done as Senin. He's jumped on. There is a little bit of turret left, but Soul just picks up Senin, throws him back through Dread. What is that? I'm not entirely sure, but Bono does take a fair bit of damage eventually. Soul is able to grab that kill as now Keen has picked up a Feather Storm, throws it on forward, but I'm not entirely sure whether that's what he wanted to do. Tal into the back line. Oh my goodness, of course it was going to go the way of Hanwha. It's now underneath the dregs of this turret. It's a sitting duck in Senin that they pick up. And this game feels about as over as it can be at 14 minutes.
Yeah, this game is over at this point. This is going to be the first turret going into the way of Songyun. I believe he'll get all of the gold himself. 450. This Xayah and the Zoe are absolutely monstrous. I'm just waiting for the replay. Pay attention to the Sylas after all of this. That's the highlight of this fight. The Lee Sin comes out, kicks him. He gets Kalista ulted away. Dread gets locked up by that blitzcrank grab, and here comes Sylas. He's helping. Steals the Kalista ult. Says,
I think he was trying to steal the blitzcrank but misclicked. That has to be what happened.
Tells him, let me show you how to really use this ultimate.
Yeah. Well, he can also pull them feathers back, which is what makes that ability good.
I think we're learning who has the stronger right hook here in this game.
Yeah.
They don't say anything except for nice.
I really don't think the blitzcrank is doing all that much. He's landing books. I mean, he's doing a great job, but oh dear, there is a lot more wrong with this game.
I feel like this
is
going to eventually turn into a meme, sort of like how certain regions have that champion that just always performs poorly.
Like NA Jace, is that what we're talking
exactly.
about? As Tal is going to get a Hemo Plague off. Look at all that health going back in. Sangwon is going to be on cooldown now, though, as he's now trying to trade. Not going to, as that is going to be Kalista grabbing that kill. As the lane transition has happened, the Vladimir took a while to go down, and it means that Hanwha are able to take down the mid-outer turret. But Afreeca Freecs trading even when it comes to the turrets is actually a good news story. At this point in time, as Keen, ducks, absconds, gets out. But now he has to contend with a whole lot of members towards the bottom side of the map. He's got a kick. He can get rid of the Lee Sin as he dashes his way out again. And there we go. Keen cleaned up a minion wave underneath the turret. Sylas, everybody. Nailing it.
Stop.
I'm actually legitimately waiting to be proven wrong. I want to see him do something good.
The funniest thing for me is that he got nerfed in the most recent patch.
Too strong, man.
Oh, man. Well, taking a quick look at the highlight here, Thal ends up getting spotted out. He is on the blast cone and tries to do as much damage as possible. Interestingly enough, he does do quite a fair bit to Dread.
He does.
He almost managed to bring him down with him. And if he did, that probably would have just shattered all remaining hope that Afreeca had mentally.
How much of that is there left? That's a valuable commodity right there.
I just want to know the rationale for the Sylas pick.
Yeah, we've got a few teams that we can talk to about that one. Even the teams banning it, you know? Like, I don't know. I feel like it must be doing ridiculous stuff in scrims.
No, because see, scrims are an interesting place because it's not... Even if it's winning in scrims, you have to really narrow down how much of an influence did it have in the win itself. Because sometimes you're going to have scrims where a bottom lane goes 0-10. And now you're on Sylas and you're like, yeah, it felt pretty good.
Yeah.
And when even in lane, and they just sort of drown out the fact that their bottom lane went 10-0 and Sylas didn't actually do anything. But if those type of memories are present, then it could lead you to a false conclusion that this champion is anything more than a place to spend RP.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think he's fun. He's probably fun in solo queue because he feels fun to play, right? And you can style on people.
I like
all that
winning.
Sort of stuff.
I think winning is fun.
Yeah, I mean, you can win with him in solo queue.
You know what else you can win with in solo queue?
Carthus.
Annie.
Yeah, you can win with that.
You set me up for that.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a pretty good. That was a pretty good alley-oop.
Yeah. But I forgot that you're LS, and therefore Annie is the best champion in the universe.
Absolutely. One time you should have seen that these people, they did this like voice spoofer. They hacked my computer, made it sound like I said Annie was terrible.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah, it was during one of my live streams. I just couldn't believe it.
How did they manage to hack that far in?
I didn't know. I had to leave the room and check my security measures.
Oh my goodness. I hope that they are up to par now.
Yeah.
Now that that horrendous atrocity has happened. Okay, well. I don't want to talk about that anymore. That is just...
Yeah, it's one of the greatest acts of cruelty ever inflicted, so definitely here. And Afreeca, talking about the game again, Afreeca is down 3,000 gold, but if we could hit X and see how much gold Silas brings to the team, we could also subtract that from the equation.
I was waiting for what you were going to say, and it did not disappoint. He's building a Spirit Visage as item number 2 as well. He's going to have Magic Resist.
How much gold is that total? 3,000?
Hey, and his Kingslayer is going to be healing more.
Nice.
Yes, it is.
So that he can take that much more of a pounding.
Yes. And also, these turrets are going to do exactly that as well. As Sol wants to try and come in, but doesn't have a lot of wave clear options. Sun actually takes that claw, as Temp doesn't find that, and Key doesn't find his either. That could have meant a disaster for the Afreeca Freecs, but instead, things are going to stymie. Control ward vision available all around this top side. For Hanwha Life, as Bono able to stand wherever the heck he wants to try and fish for these Qs. Does find one under the Thresh, but would have preferred the Callista, knowing that Fate's Call is, of course, available, and Sol can just pull the Thresh out of any situation that he doesn't like. There is one member of the team that can block Trouble Bubbles, and that is Thresh. The only member of the team.
And right now, if you're Hanwha Life Esports, all that you really want to do is just manage the side lanes, make sure that you crash the wave slowly so that the enemy team doesn't have any minions that they can hide behind, so that you get a nice build-up of several minions, maybe perhaps with a cannon wave, get it underneath the turret and look for a Blitzcrank hook, and that'll really open up the wave. Now, you can see right here that there's still some posturing. It's not the cleanest of crashes, but they do have some minions to work with, but Sandra, nice champion. Silas.
Yeah, once again, Sun is going to launch his way forward, but does have the self-ult to keep him alive. Silas, like you say, is in the back line, able to proto-belt his way out, picks himself up a kick, and he's going to take the Lantern to safety. That Trouble Bubble, not sure how that landed, but Leaf is going to get Dread out of harm's way. Tal looking to try and get in the back line, and Key, he's speed boosted, but doesn't have the hook. Sight not quite there, but look at that. It's just inner turret taken, and Hanwha Life make it look like there's absolutely nothing Afreeca Freecs can do. Sanguine pull on cooldown, and Tal does 20% of his own health.
So right now, Hanwha Life is at a 4,700 gold advantage. There's an Ocean Drake available on the map, but it shouldn't be that high of a priority. If you're Afreeca, you probably shouldn't take it right now because of how far behind you are. Because not only do you roll a chance that an Infernal can spawn, in which case you can't capture it due to how far behind you are, but you could also roll the chance of a Mountain spawning. So why would you do work for Hanwha Life? Thank you. Excellent. Great. I'm sure that you'll be getting that Mountain Drake in 5 minutes.
Hey, if you're an optimist like me...
Oh, okay, tell me. They're going to win a team fight?
They take this Drake so they have a chance of getting a good Drake afterwards, in case their top inhibitor turret is taken. And then Hanwha go for a reset.
Alright, well.
And, or, you know, going for a trade. Put the Mountain there to look juicy and then take a Baron.
This is a really concerning thing that you see pro teams do very often, not just in the LCK, but in every region. They don't recognize how far behind they are and how little the Dragon actually does for the opposing team and how little it does for you. What is the percentage increase, realistically, that Afreeca is going to win now thanks to the capture of that Ocean? And likewise, what would the percentage increase be for Hanwha Life if they got a second Ocean?
I mean, the other question as well, I mean, there is, like, what does Afreeca get if that's not what happens, right? Like, what does Afreeca get if they don't do the Mountain Drake? I guess they get an earlier reset, something like that. They don't get Trouble Bubble and destroyed as the flash means that Bono does move back into the team. The Claw going to do a lot of damage there, but Sun can't actually help out. The Q's actually doing a bunch of work. Circle of Frost is hella high value, and now Sol is dancing around. The Ren set's going to come in. The Leap reset's not actually available because he hasn't evolved it, but that's a kill for the Kazakhs and a big win for Afreeca Freecs.
And that is a win that they certainly needed at this point in time, helping keep them inside of the game.
Oh, Keen dives on forward, gets kicked back out again, though, as the abscond doesn't work. That's a heal. Hemo Plague was a heal. Gets him into lane with a big...
I liked how excited you were almost getting. And then you just sort of realized what champion you were casting. Let's take a look at how this all happens.
It's actually really cute.
Yeah.
Really cute.
Starts off with Senin being pulled back in and luring them into this narrow area around the Raptor camp, and it actually gave Afreeca a really good angle to fight. And look at Vladimir. He's not here. He's running from bottom lane. So Afreeca, they found themselves with a really unique opportunity to capitalize on Hanwha Life's over-aggression, and they took it.
Does mean now we've got the 2 items already built up. Sol wanted to have that opportunity to get that sort of fight in there. Does find it. And now has a Hex Drinker on top of his first 2 items that he grabbed. Speaking of grabbed, that is a very sad blue buff. Pulled off the wall and destroyed. Okay, Zipscott gets Keen back in there. There's the Fate's Call. They're looking for the Blitzcrank, and they'll find him. That is a very dead Keen. And that looked like, oh, imagine that. Imagine if Keen was Pike. That would have been so much better. As it looked like his ultimate came in, but nope, that was just the Chain Lash. Okay, we're going to try and do some damage to some minions with a redemption, but look at this. Turret goes down in the mid lane. Afreeca Freecs are fighting back.
So right now, they're only down 3.5k gold, which is reasonably close. But in all of these kills that Afreeca's been getting, it's been on the back of Hanwha Life being needlessly aggressive, not playing around their vision properly, Vladimir not being present in some of the fights, and he's one of their strongest members by far.
Yeah. Not exactly Keen from game number 1, but is certainly a massively high-value member of this squad. It does have the most CS on the map at this point in time. But this gold has been teetering around 4,000 for about the entire game. And as that continues, the game moves ever closer towards parity, as that's the ultimate coming out from Keen, looking to try and actually win a fight here, but it's just looking so hard. He's taking so much damage, is Tal, and just not really giving too much back, as, oh, somehow the Q doesn't land. That is normally a guarantee, but Bono shows that you can miss it after the kick.
Mountain Drake coming up now in 45 seconds. I do believe that Keen will have his teleport available for that when it ends up spawning.
Keen going to be going back to base now, so we'll see whether he can win the next trade any better. Fiendish Codex is picked up, sells all of his Dark Seals, and gets his Onions. Good news. That's actually a pretty decent purchase there, as Keen was sitting on obviously a fair bit of money. Still waiting for the Infinity Edge to come in from Sangyun, but when that does land, Hanwha will have a very notable lead, as that's a very early flash, heal, and Featherstorm out of Sangyun, as Keen dives on over, but isn't actually able to pick up anything. Hijack still not on cooldown.
Caster Curse about to come in strong here.
Mountain Drake, priority of Afreeca Freecs. How you feeling about my little cup now, LS? Keen does have a kick, and he can boot Bono back out of this fight, as that is Rend securing the Mountain Drake. That is 100% that play. You got the Rend, you got the extra damage. Do they lose Baron from this? Is, I guess, the question. As the answer is probably no, as Tal heading back towards the bottom side of the map does have teleport available for a flank, and there's a fair bit of vision here as well, as the Brambleback Pit has a ward in it for him to jump on if they want to, but looks like Hanwha are going to go for a reset here. Things pretty calm on Summoner's Rift. So we have a look at this 50 CS lead for Tal, encroaching further forward. But Keen's got Klepto, LS, so don't worry. That's going to be basically gold parity for the
I wonder
Silas.
how much gold has actually accrued for him over the length of the stream. I wish that the observers would actually show Klepto gold more often.
Yeah.
I'm always so curious how much an Ezreal's getting.
Yep.
Or any champion that takes it up in top lane, but we're not going to get any of that. And right now, one of the reasons that maybe Hanwha Life is taking things a bit slow is because they were a little over-aggressive in mid lane just a few moments ago.
The thing that I find really interesting is the amount of respect Tal is giving to Keen. Tal has a level advantage, and he seems to still not want to fight against this this Silas. Kick is actually now on cooldown as Key does find the hook, but is this actually what he wants? Goes Golden, but no one's going to get hit by that trouble bubble. He's burning down and Soul grabs it. Frozen Thrall with the Blitzcrank comes in, but not going to get too much more, and that's an easy pick-off. And this is what Blitzcrank kind of does in the mid-game in competitive games. He finds himself out of position and has no way to get himself to safety.
And so far, Afreeca, they're constantly managing to find these pickoffs over and over and over, and it buys them a lot of time, and it's giving them a lot of time to keep ramping up and trying to get back into this game. And they do have a lot of work cut out for them here. They're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, this is one hell of a 4v5.
It certainly is. Silas tries to run down mid lane. He's saying that he's helping, but what he doesn't remember is that he got picked last in kickball.
He got picked out last this game as well, so I like what you did there. That was clever. That was very clever. As okay, blue trinket going to be used here, and looks like Afreeca have taken well and truly control of this Baron Pit area. Senin saying that my hook is more relevant at this stage of the game, and you know what? I think you might be right. This Lantern can be taken, and of course the Fate's Call is available for Soul to keep Senin safe as well. So I like this. I feel like this rookie performance from Senin has been fantastic in the early game. Is Keen trying to look forward for this one. Okay, they are going to be able to grab the first one. Bono's going to go down. His son has to go Golden. Golden is Keen as well as Tal. Right in the back line. No kills are going to result from this one, but Hanwha's health bars are way bigger than that of the Afreeca Freecs, and they have to get the hell out of the mid lane.
And they have a lot more sustain inside of them right now with the Vladimir. They had 4 Targon stacks, didn't actually utilize any of them. It's a little bit surprising. Oh man, that was a really close call.
Yeah, and now Vision going to be cleared. It's a bit of a trade. Interestingly enough, a 1-for-0 in favor of the Afreeca Freecs. But definitely, if a team fight goes like that next time around, things are real bad.
We'll take another quick look at it. So, the Kalista knockup managed to help pick off Bono right there at the end. Songyun uses his ultimate, but doesn't actually get a stun onto anyone. Following that up, as Dread was able to narrowly escape off the left-hand side.
And I think that Frozen Thralls are actually going to be really important. So grabbing these early kills in these fights, of course Kazik's very good at it, Sun very good at locking down priority targets, and Soul can actually help in that department as well with the added CC from the Fate's Call. That is going to be great, because if Afreeca Freecs can actually get these snowball team fights, that's how they're going to win this game. And Tal is then going to have to be that one-man army to try and take them down, but if all of his teammates are icicle explosioning in front of him, that's going to be a problem. Can't take the Lantern just yet, but is able to in the end. As I love it when Silas is just abscond randomly in random directions to get it on cooldown, get the cooldown ticking. Find it really quite amusing.
Let me ask you a quick question here.
Yeah, go for it.
What designer brand do you think made Blitzcrank and Lee Sin's gloves?
Everlast. What? It's the only brand that I know that makes gloves like that.
All right.
I think they're a brand that makes boxing gloves. They make gym clothes.
They do that, yes.
Yeah.
3 seconds.
It's not a subject that I know a lot about.
3 seconds until the Infernal...
Oh, yeah. He's Golden Boy. That's what he's demonstrating. Almost got... Okay. That's worse than the hook, as he's going to throw in the flash.
Wow, he even flashed away. And he does that because he doesn't have any intel exactly on where Zoe was. So it's a reasonable thing to actually do.
Well,
Quite
Infernal
unfortunate.
has been started up, as now we've got a big dash there with the dash cannon and the flash and the abscond, but at least he gets out of the way. I believe that was a duct. I'm sorry. Too many skill names for Silas. Keen is able to dodge a lot of them. The Trouble Bubble's going to go wide, as Soul able to get some damage onto Tal here. Blade of the Ruined King comes through. Oh, the flash going to be traded. Okay, Sun actually buying a lot of space and a lot of time for the Afreeca Freecs.
And Afreeca is mechanically sort of dismantling Hanwha Life here in a way. You can see the Vladimir doesn't really have a good angle of approach, as right now Sun is recalling to deal with that top wave. That's a herd if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, and Hemoplague has been picked up by Keen, but it's going to be really hard now for them to utilize it. Teleport available from Sun, like you were talking about. Afreeca Freecs not exactly the best flank wards available here, as Dread does come round from looking for this red buff. that is spawning very soon. That trouble bubble is not one that you want to be dealing with. That hook was beautiful. The timing, stunning. And Hanwha Life Esports will be gifted an Infernal Drake for their troubles and maybe even more.
And now they are heading to the Baron, I'm assuming, after they push in this mid-wave.
That was absolutely huge. They should be able to lock down this Baron buff. And I feel like Hanwha have been waiting for that one opportunity for this entire mid-game and more. As Dread's stolen these things multiple times in the past.
Dread has been very on point with his steals.
And look at the soul vision available around here as Senin. He's going to die as Keen jumps into the Baron pit. Maybe it's all a cunning ruse as he goes golden. Tal, sorry, gets a Hemo Plague in the backline, and that is just the Afreeca Freecs members well and truly dead or having to go into stasis. Tal going to do the same thing as it's a double kill for the Xayah, and they just go back to the Baron. Key, Baron may actually just kill him, but nope, Bono gets on over, and they're having lunch, they're having somebody else's lunch, they're having everything on the side of Hanwha Live. Infernal into Baron, into multiple kills, and Afreeca, they were holding on for so long, but I feel like finally that grip has slipped.
And what a series of unfortunate events. Look at that Zoe bubble landing onto Kalista Soul. Didn't know what hit him. They were able to convert this into an Infernal Drake, followed up by the Baron. Take a look at Senon. He just walks right past the Vladimir. No response whatsoever. You're going to see, look at Silas go into the pit. He's helping. Did he whiff the Vladimir ult?
Did he use the Vladimir ult?
He had the Vladimir ult when he went into the pit. I actually didn't see what he used it on. But nonetheless, didn't really do anything.
No.
And they just started dropping like flies. There's really not that much to say. They were forced into this position because Kalista was down. They had to take a 3v5 at the Baron, which is really unfortunate. Some people might say they had 4 champions there, but not I.
Well, that hook is going to hit that minion. That minion well and truly punished for its sins, as Kane can close a lot of distance very fast. Sun going to get tagged up there, and you can see there's a Vladimir in the mid lane. Afreeca Freecs. He might just win the game if you're not careful. Now looking to go back home. Dread with the sickest Kha'Zix flank ever. Right now, Inhibitor is now dead. Can we actually get ourselves into a position where we can get this flank as Dread goes invisible? They've got one hook, and it does land onto the Thresh, but we got a full health bar with that redemption. And look at this, Tal just says, leave this one to me, boys. Soul might explode, but does have a Guardian Angel. And remember, if he can keep himself alive, he can do a lot of damage. Keen, Kingslayer in the backline, keeps himself alive for some time. But Dread just got out. He knows what he wants. He wants to survive. And he doesn't think that the rest of his team can do the same. As Tal jumping on forward, it's a tale of 2 Vladimirs, and Tal showing that he can also perform very well on his. But the Silas picks continue to be confusing here in the LCK. Sanguine Pool over the top. Bono gets himself in there. They do manage to take down the Kha'Zix. The Vladimir gonna die, but that is going to be that. Hanwha Life Esports continue the win streak against the Afreeca Freecs, this time 2-1. And it was an interesting series. Afreeca stayed alive in that game for a lot longer than I guess we were expecting.
Yeah. Normally 4 versus 5s don't tend to go as long as that.
Yeah, and we were being very, very mean to the Silas that game, but he's once again demonstrating that he just doesn't offer a lot to these team compositions.
Especially not in the spots where he's being picked. If I take another quick look at the draft,
yeah,
in this game here, I mean, he came in at such an awkward timing where...
Sorry, that was the first series. Let's have a look. Okay, over here.
We got a...
Came in at the very end after the Xayah Blitzcrank were picked up.
Came in, and what ultimate are you really trying to steal? You can't make good usage of Lee Sin. You can't utilize Zoe's ultimate. Blitzcrank on paper looks like a good ult, but you have to be in the heart of the team. And if you don't have a way to get easy access into there, you're just going to get blown up and popped regardless.
I mean, your E can theoretically get you in there, but you need an ideal scenario, right?
Yeah.
Or normally, a flash Blitzcrank ult that does a billion damage. But he built second item Spirit Visage, so that's irrelevant. The reason why the Blitzcrank ultimate is so cool is because the ratio on it is like relatively high, and normally he's a support, so can't utilize that ratio very much, which is why it continues to be quite high, you know, because you just don't see Blitzcrank in a solo lane. However, if you do that and you don't build any AP, it's just a really small
It's a
silence.
really, yeah, it's a very small AoE silence. It doesn't do anything. I mean,
That's like going into the back line and going,
we saw the Hemo Plague by Sylas at the end there. That tickled
yeah.
the HP of all of the enemies that he casted on. And it just doesn't make sense. Normally when you would think of Sylas, you would think of multiple high-priority ultimates like a Urgot or a Zillion or
Well, the thing that I'm looking at,
Karthus.
right, is that this was a counter pick where he knew that Vladimir was going to be the champion he's up against, right? So Keen can pick any champion that he wants into the Vladimir and chose Sylas. And that's what I have a problem with, right?
Where was Victor?
Exactly. Victor is there. I mean, there are so many other choices that you can take into the Vladimir. And yes, Vladimir is a pretty strong pick up towards the top side of the map at the moment. However, you can still punish it, especially with full knowledge of what you're picking into.
And
right?
even if we make the argument that Sylas can go even in lane against Vladimir, that's not what you pick him for. He has to be picked as not only does he need to get picked into a lane that he can survive in, he needs to be picked as an anti-comp. He's a counter-comp pick, not a counter-lane pick.
In what game is like Nasus not a better choice, right? And when Nasus is a better choice, that's when I think you've made a mistake.
Is that the question? Is that the metric that we use?
Yeah.
All right.
Is Nasus actually better here? If so, you've made an error.
Dies to Doomblade. You won't get that reference, but some people will.
Okay.
And nonetheless, we're taking a look at some of the highlights. This is really my favorite right here. What we're witnessing, absolutely stellar performance. I mean, if this was the Olympics.
I'm so glad we get the slow-mo for it as well. There's the flash. Oh, hang on. That's what a Featherstorm really looks like. Oh, well, God. At least our observers know what we've been talking about this entire game. As Hanwha honestly styled on them in the early game, they milled around for a bit in the mid-game, after this play especially.
Yeah, this is where they started to really lose control, though. This is where Afreeca looked like they were slowly going to be able to start recovering within this game. They found themselves a really good angle. That was a beautiful engage by Sun right there on the Lissandra. And then it looked like they were going to start being able to potentially turn things around, but not quite. And then right here, this was the bubble that ended the game, as when Kalista went down here, it was way too easy for Hanwha Life to convert this into an Infernal and a Baron capture.
Yep, and it felt like Temp
I get
out
to
of it
see
today.
the Vladimir ultimate again.
Yep.
What happened to it?
I think it timed out.
Oh.
I didn't want to say that.
Okay.
Because it's really embarrassing, and we've been embarrassing Sylas a lot today, whether it be Keen, whether it not be Keen. But yeah, that's just unfortunate, isn't it?
I've just never been so perplexed by a pick in this region, actually, historically.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, right? And normally, LCK is one of the regions that takes the longest
To adapt.
to adapt and find a reason to pick one of these new champions, right? Often it's not the LCK that is in that boat.
Usually, they need to be shown why you pick a champion. They've
Exactly.
been very stubborn historically, and so
They're not. This isn't the region that does the research into whether or not a champion's good. They see another region do it, and they're like, "Oh, all right, we'll pick it up, I guess."
Don't let the damage chart mislead you here. Okay, I was not expecting that on Sylas doing as much as he did, but it was because he was always skirmishing.
Yeah, he was just smashing the Vladimir over and over again.
Over and over and over.
Like,
they're endlessly just hitting each other, and so that is what is going on there.
The rivers will run red, as it were, and certainly the damage numbers looking great for the old Sylas, but the victory-defeat ratio is what I have a bit of an issue with here in Korea, especially because when Sylas wins, it ain't Sylas's he's the reason. And when he loses, it looks like it's certainly based on the fact that they were missing a champion. As Tempt is going to get back-to-back MVPs, fantastic bubbles here, and he won the game for them. He won the game for them in game number 1 as well. I mean, picking up the double buffs in the early game and then carrying things through on the Syndra. He really carried his advantages nicely. And a lot of redemption actually coming in here for Tempt in the mid lane. And look, we were missing Lava a little bit. We were wondering why he wasn't coming back because Lava is a great player for himself. But Tempt
네,
has certainly
하나생명이
been
6승에
rising up the
올랐습니다.
ranks
오늘 승리
in
정말
Hanwha Life
값진데요.
Esports. We're going to be
경기가
able to have a chat with him,
준비됐어요.
so
템트 선수
take it away,
오실게요.
Jason.
안녕하세요.
Thank you very much, guys.
네, 벌써
This will be
MVP 포인트
a solo
600점으로
MVP
팀내 1위에
interview
올라
with Tempt.
있습니다. 오늘 승리 소감 어떠세요?
How do you feel about today's victory? It was a very important match for our team, and we also needed a lot of set points. So 2-1 is a bit, I mean, not that satisfying, but yeah, I'm really happy that we got the win. And about the feedback after the game 1, he was actually really mad. But thanks to his advices and feedbacks, we were able to kind of come back and show better performance.
네, 그래서 이 세트에서 신드라로 아주 멋진 활약
I guess that was the reason
보여줬습니다.
why you were doing so well in
인정
Syndra in game
어떠셨어요?
2. How was the laning phase against LeBlanc?
사실 저번에 담원 경기전 때 너무 망해가지고
Well,
신드라가
my
오늘
Syndra
약간 부담스러웠는데
was so bad in
그래도
the previous match in the Damwon
신드라를
Gaming.
얘기를
But
해주셔가지고
today, our
자신감
head coach
있게
actually
했는데
told me to
잘된 것
try
같아요.
Syndra again, so I was trying to play with confidence, and it really worked out fine. And today we were facing up against a new player of Afreeca Freecs, Sun. How was him?
잘하시는 선수인 것 같고
I think he's a
일단
good player.
저는 사실 이렇게 나올
to
줄
be honest,
몰랐는데
I actually didn't expect him to be on the mid lane today,
잘하신 것 같아요.
but
네,
yeah,
빨리
I
나올
think
줄은
he's a good
몰랐지만
player.
잘 대비가 되어 있었습니다. 신드라로 멋진 솔로킬 장면 많이 나왔습니다.
There were a lot of solo
연속으로
kills in
이어서
Syndra today, so let's
보겠습니다.
go through some of the clips.
자, 이때 상황 설명 부탁드릴게요.
What was going on here?
그때부터 거의 르블랑이 신드라 스턴 맞으면 거의 원콤
Well,
나거든요. 점화가 있으면.
Since that point, if I have an ignite, I can just always one
리신도 이렇게
just
앞전멸로
solo kill LeBlanc
잡아내셨어요.
every time with just one skill. Cool.
자, 전멸은 보통 회피기로 많이 사용을 하는데 이럴 때 대비해서
You
좀
are
아껴놓는
using
편이신가요?
really aggressive flashes over there.
저희 팀에 켄치도 있는 거 켄치도
Well, I
있어가지고
palm catch my
자신감
back,
있게 그냥
so
저 스펠 없을 때
I was
저만
going a little bit
먹어달라고.
more aggressively, and even though when I
전멸 다 썼으니까
when I didn't have
저만
flash,
먹어달라고.
I asked him
야,
to stand
네,
behind me to just hit me and save me.
이렇게 멋진 앞전멸 보여주셨습니다. 그리고 3세트
네.
블리츠
Game three.
크랭크를 정말 빠르게 픽하셨습니다.
Hanwha Life
원래
Esports
준비가 되어
locked in
있었나요?
Blitzcrank really quickly.
사실
Was it
준비는
planned in advance?
가끔씩 몇 판은 하긴 했는데
I mean, we did play it
이렇게 쓸 줄은
from
몰랐어요.
time to
상윤
time, but
형이 갑자기
I didn't really
자유블리츠
expect
자기라고 하셔가지고
this to come up today,
가끔씩
but
그냥 나온 것
Sangyun
같아요.
just told us, what
키
about
선수의
Zaya and
어필이 아니라
Blitzcrank?
상윤
And
선수의 어필이었군요.
we just
자유블리츠 각
went for it.
이러면서
It was
한경한테
상윤's
물어보면서
decision.
바로 나왔던 것 같아요.
he said,
키
let's
선수가
go for
오케이
Zaya
해서
Blitzcrank,
그렇게
and he said
자야
okay,
블리츠가 나오게
and that's how we
됐습니다.
played Zaya and
조이와의
Blitzcrank in
연계,
bot
스킬
lane.
연계가 너무너무 좋았어요.
And the
오늘
engagement
호흡 어떠셨나요?
with Zoe was amazing. The sleep and the hook.
호흡이라기보다는 운이 좀 좋았던 것 같아요. 사실 그냥
Well,
던져본
it was
순간인데
not
이
about
앞에서
engagement. It
카리스마가
was more about luck
맞아가지고
because I just
네,
threw. I
하나
was just
던져본
throwing
건데
my Sleepy Trouble
운이
bubble,
좋았던 것
and it
같아요.
just landed on the champions, and
겸손한
Key was
모습입니다.
there
키
to
선수가
grab him.
블리츠
So
앞으로
yeah, it was all the
나올까요?
luck. Can
강
we
나오면 쓰지
expect more of the
않을까요?
Blitzcrank
상윤
from now on?
선수의 자야 블리츠 강.
Maybe
강 나오면 쓸것
if
같아요.
there's a
네,
situation
알겠습니다. 기대해
or a
보겠습니다.
composition that
자,
fits well.
지난번에 상윤 선수가 183만 원 소고기 쏘셨습니다.
Last time,
정말 삼겹살
상윤
먹고 싶다고
bought you guys
하셨었는데 좀
beef.
아쉬우셨나요?
But you actually said you wanted to eat pork.
싫어하는데
Well, I actually hate
먹어보니까
beef,
네,
but
다르긴 하더라고요.
I had the very
맛있게
expensive
먹었어요.
one that night, and it was
네,
really
회식
good. It
명가
was delicious.
하나생명의 오늘 저녁 메뉴는 뭔가요?
아직
What's your team dinner tonight?
그래도
I don't know yet, but
맛있는 거 먹으러
Something
가지
delicious?
않을까 싶은데
Hopefully?
잘 모르겠어요.
네,
not sure
또
yet.
비싼 소고기를
maybe
먹으면
expensive beef.
좋을 것 같습니다.
네.
네. 자,
Yeah, I'll be looking
2라운드
forward to
이제
it.
시작을 했습니다. 다음 경기도
This is the start of
잡아내야
second
이제
round.
위로 반등할 기회가 생겨요.
Hanwha Life
어떤
Esports must
각오이신가요?
take another victory to go up to the
저희가
upper higher
승점이 안
ranks.
좋기 때문에 무조건 경기를 이겨야 될 것
I know
같고
we are low in points, so
더
we
노력해야 될
really
것
need a lot of victories. So
네,
we have to
2라운드 때
keep
더
our hard
잘해서
work going.
개인적으로 이 정도 순위까지 가고
Then
싶다.
what is your
하는 순위가 있으신가요?
goal for the second round?
3등 일단.
야,
Third
3등으로
place, maybe?
기억해 놓도록 하겠습니다. 팬분들도 3위에 오른 하나생명
We'll
많이
be looking
기대해
forward
주시기
to seeing
바랍니다.
Hanwha Life
자, 오늘의
Esports in the
MVP
third
템트
place.
선수 만나봤습니다.
And this will be the end of
감사합니다.
the interview with Tempt, and I'm
네,
gonna hand
인터뷰
it
여기서
back to our
마칠게요.
casters.
중계상
Thank
나와주세요.
you.
Thank you very much, Ji-sun. You've been an absolute trooper with the translation as well, because it is a very late night. And Ji-sun was also a little bit tired this morning. So shout outs to her as well, staying alive with us throughout what has been a marathon of an evening. Thank you very much for staying with me, LS, through thick and thin, my friend, and I appreciate it a lot. Hanwha Life Esports do make it to positivity after that victory. 6-4 even with Kingzone and Damwon Gaming after their win over SKT, and things are looking very close in the middle of the table. Just below Griffin is where the excitement really starts, And then Genji, Afreeca, and KT are fighting for second last as they're desperately trying to claw their way out of the dead zone, which is where we find Jin Air Green Wings. A very unfortunate start for them in the first round robin. We'll see whether they can get any more wins. It's only one game win so far, so anything feels good for Jin Air. As we're going to have a look, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are going to be your only match days here for the LCK as we're going for the next 5 weeks, only 4 days a week. And in fact, I'm going to be doing a bit of a switcheroo with Brendan. So I'm going to be jumping in on Saturday, Sunday. So for next week, you get purely Valdez Pub Smithy and Atlas LS. So look forward to that one, as we're not sharing anymore. This is what happened. They heard about all the Hearthstone references and all the ridiculousness, and they were like, we're going to need more of that. So that's what you're going to get for next week. But for now, that is going to be it. Thank you so much for watching what has been a pretty exciting day. But for now, good night.